So what do you say to the majority of Americans who believe that the president is himself corrupt?
We're all going over the cliff. And this is very different from previous years because our nation has not been $32 trillion in debt. It is now.
Hey, what's up, you all? Welcome back. I'm Van, and we are all the LFR family. Thank you so much for clicking play. I appreciate you, and hopefully you click that like button as well. I saw that today the debt ceiling bill passed the House, and now it's going over to the Senate. But I see also that Byron Donalds has a lot to say about it. So that's what I'm here for, because I really want to truly understand what it's all about, see what both sides feel about it. I mean, I thought Kevin McCarthy would be more on point, but from what I'm seeing, Byron McDonald is shredding McCarthy's debt bill. So I want to see more about it. Y'all let me know what y'all think about it as well. I would really like to know that.
The debt limit deal passes. The final tally, 314 votes in the House in favor of the Biden-McCarthy deal. They needed 218. They got 314. They will lift the debt ceiling to January 2025 in this bill, despite many on the GOP side voting against the bill. It now heads to the Senate ahead of the June 5th default deadline. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy celebrating after last night's vote. Watch.
This is fabulous. This is one of the best nights I've ever been here. I thought it would be hard. I thought it'd be almost impossible just to get to 218. Now I found there's a whole new day here. We've woken them up.
Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene defended Speaker McCarthy as some Republicans are calling for him to step down or be removed after.
Okay, I have a question before I continue. I was under the, my understanding was that the debt ceiling should not have been raised, but we should do what we can possibly do to make sure that we not spend above our debt. I mean, because if we continue to raise the debt ceiling, then what is a debt? Like, it's just another way of us being irresponsible, if that makes any sense, because there's nobody who will raise our debt ceiling. Like, if we owe a bill, that's what the bill is going to be. I mean, we can go in there and will and deal. I'm sure a lot of y'all are very business savvy and y'all know how to get around having to pay certain things, which is cool. But I'm just saying, I don't think this is responsible just from looking on from the outside looking in.
To this bill, watch.
If my friends and colleagues in the Freedom Caucus want a motion to vacate over that, that is absolutely absurd, simply because we passed a debt ceiling bill that actually cuts spending.
Joining me right now is Florida Congressman, Freedom Caucus member, and member of the House Financial Services and Oversight Committees. Byron Donalds is back with me. Congressman, it's always a pleasure. Good to see you this morning.
Now, I'm glad that we're checking out Byron Donalds together, because this dude gonna give you something real, something you can feel off top. And I know that he does not sugarcoat stuff. So let's get it.
Good morning, Maria. How are you?
You voted no on this bill. Walk us through the problems that you had with this bill.
Well, a couple of key things. First, what this bill does, it keeps post spending levels here in Washington, D.C. And now both parties are saying that the post-COVID world of federal spending is okay, and it's simply not. Everybody understands why we had to plus up money, because the government largely shut down our American economy, but to allow the federal agencies to now be 40 to 50% bigger than they were before the pandemic, I think is just completely irresponsible. Well, Number two,
go ahead.
We cut about $12 billion in year one, but if you go to the bond markets and you're going to raise $4 trillion in new debt, essentially what we cut was the debt service for the new debt. So we're basically treading water. Those are two big reasons why, because the long-term fiscal outlook of our country has not changed. This bill does not do it. This bill is a baby step, but it's not the step that the American people need.
Now,
so it's like, let's just ignore our debt. Let's ignore that. Let's be positive, folks. Yes, the debt is there, but if you train your mind not to focus on the negative, it sounds like a TED Talk. Like, this is completely irresponsible to me. And I don't know a whole lot about the way that the government works when it comes to the money. I'm just now paying attention to all of this. And just from the outside looking in, it seemed like we're being extremely irresponsible, bro. Or as Chris and Susie said, we're continuing to spend borrowed money and act as if we don't owe it so that we can continue to spend more borrowed money. What?
What about the idea that, yeah, this is a baby step, but it's a step in the right direction? I mean, look, let's face it, there are lots of issues that people have raised beyond just the two that you just raised. Defense spending is not keeping up with the way China is spending. There was no money for the border here. The IRS was Kevin McCarthy's big priority in terms of rescinding that money. Much of it, the majority of it, is still in place.
Oh, I have those concerns, and I'll even go one more. The Inflation Reduction Act, or the Inflation No Reduction Act.
Hold on one second. Let me go back, because I just now saw something that I actually like, if this is a part of the bill, that it adds work requirements for some food and aid recipients. I like that. If that's in the bill, I actually like that. It rescinds about $30 billion of unspent, I'm not supposed to say that word, relief money. That's sad, man. But look, I'm just saying. I'm just letting y'all know what it is. So it rescinds about $30 billion of unspent CV money, relief money. Okay, don't know if that's a good or bad thing. Repeals $1.9 billion for the IRS. Okay, I will have to hear more to know exactly what that is. Lifts pause on student loan repayments. It lifts the pause. Okay, I got to read more about that too. Streamlines energy projects, no new taxes, does not repeal clean energy tax credits, does not add work requirements for some Medicaid recipients. Okay.
Even go one more. The Inflation Reduction Act, or the Inflation No Reduction Act, as I like to call it, the subsidies in that bill for the Green New Deal stay intact. Goldman Sachs is saying it's going to cost us $1.2 trillion. Where are we going to get that money from? Guess what? We're going to borrow that too. So that's going to cost us $1.2 trillion. And these Green New Deal technologies are not sufficient to power our electric grid. So how is that going to help our energy matrix? And how is that going to help our economy over the long term? All those things stay intact. That's why I voted against the bill.
How much is this dollar worth now? I got a $1 bill right here. How much is it worth? How much is it worth? Whatever it's worth today, if we continue to do what we're doing, this bad boy is going to be worth 50 cents in probably like 15 years. I mean, it really is, man. What's the point? I don't get it.
Well, I mean, look, we're all talking about Joe Biden's mental capacity, it seems, every day. Are you saying you think Joe Biden outsmarted Kevin McCarthy?
I think what happened is the pressure in this town from a lot of different interest groups, whether it's defense, whether it's members who, truly believe that the potential of default means that you have to abandon everything else because you have to solve that first. I think those are real pressures in this town. I've talked to members who have those concerns. But at the end of the day, if our fiscal house is not in order, and if we're not making substantive steps towards fixing that, it doesn't matter whether you're concerned about the default or you're concerned about defense, we're all going over the cliff. And this is very different from previous years because our nation has not been $32 trillion in debt. It is now. The federal agencies have not been as big. They are now. And the radical spending from the Democrats has never been this large, and it is now. And in about 10 years, the way we're going, CBO has projected it, OMB has projected it, interest on the debt will be the #1 line item in the federal budget. That is outrageous. And we have to make serious steps to avert that.
Yeah, that is really outrageous. You're right.
I think a lot of this has to do with what's going on with, us being about to vote for president for next year. People wanting to be on the right side of history. They don't want their names to come up in being a part of the people who said they didn't want to provide them with more spending. I just think that we need an adult in the room still. She asked him a question. Do you think Joe Biden outsmarted Kevin McCarthy? Well, first of all, nothing that Joe Biden stands for at this point, or even or anything that any agenda that he may have, I don't even think it comes from him. I don't even think he's paying attention when these ideas are passed through him. He's just okay, I'll do this, I'll say this, and he does it and he says it. Simple and plain. That's how I see it anyway. I may be wrong, which is cool. I'm wrong all the time.
Talking about $10 trillion in interest payments alone in the coming decade. What would you have advised the speaker to do differently? Because he said that Biden walled off much of the budget, that he was only allowed to deal with 11% of the budget. And when dealing with just 11%, he was real successful. So what should the Republicans have done? if Biden is just walling off the budget
Well, look,
and just digging in on these spending caps?
Well, look, the speaker and I have had this conversation. Nobody in this town wanted to deal with Social Security, Medicare, and some of the other drivers that are really pushing our spending to a whole nother level. But in non-defense discretionary spending, and even in some elements of discretionary spending, Washington has to understand and learn the muscle memory of what it means to cut spending responsibly while still being able to execute the functions of the federal government. I think he could have done that here. In terms of the process of how things went down, when it was pretty clear that the White House was not serious about doing anything, my opinion, and I think I've said it on various networks, we should have looked at the Senate and told the Senate to pass a bill, because the Senate in its entire situation did nothing. As a matter of fact, what they really were trying to do was sabotage any real work to get our fiscal house in order, because you had Chuck Schumer and frankly you had some members of my party who were so tied to defense spending that they're not looking at the debt. They're concerned about defense spending, that they were trying to sabotage any possible deal that could have happened in the House.
Well, what happens now? If it passes the Senate in the coming days, which we're expecting, what do you want to see as a next step to try to get us closer to fiscal sanity?
Well, look, the next fight, we'll see what happens in the Senate. It's still got to get through there. But if that's looking like that's going to occur, it's now going to come into the appropriations battle, and it's going to require us in every aspect of the 12 appropriation bills to actually do the hard work of getting rid of wasteful spending. A funny thing happens in this town. When you show people you can actually vote and get rid of wasteful spending, it gives them the ability to continue to do that work.
Yeah.
And you got to start somewhere. Look, this town doesn't even run towards spending. This town actually goes the opposite way. So you got to get them to crawl, you got to get them to walk, you got to get them to run, you got to train them to do it. That's the work that I'm looking at right now.
Well, one way to pull back spending is at the FBI, right? I mean, FBI Director Christopher Wray has confirmed the existence of this single document that has been subpoenaed by Republicans that they say ties Joe Biden to a criminal bribery scheme. Wray is now facing the contempt of Congress after refusing to produce that document, instead telling lawmakers that they can see it in a secure setting. The White House refusing to answer a question after being questioned about Biden's corruption claims. Watch this.
There was a Harvard-Harris poll this month that found that 53% of the public, including a fourth of Democrats, believe, quote, Joe Biden was involved with his son in an illegal influence peddling scheme. So what do you say to the majority of Americans who believe that the president is himself corrupt?
Wow. Jesus. Can I take that question?
The president has spoken to this. The president has spoken to this, and there's nothing to these claims.
He did the same thing that Karine Jean-Pierre does all the time, bro. He was not honest. He did not address the issue that the young man mentioned. The information, it didn't just come from out of thin air. It came from actual information that was given, that was research, that was found out about. And he just act like, let me just laugh at this and act like it's nothing. Dude is so foolish for asking this. That's why I don't trust a lot of these people, man. I promise you, I don't trust a lot of them because they play to their people. I work for him. I don't work for you. I'm not going to say nothing bad about him. That's boss. Boss might take away my job. No, I gotta answer to him, not y'all, not the American people. I know why I'm here. I'm supposed to be here representing the American people, but nah, that's not what I'm doing at all. And he just outright lied to people, and we cannot hold anybody accountable because this is exactly what you're going to get. Somebody laughing at you because they know that they don't have to give you any answers. They know they don't have to supply you with any type of information. Definitely not going to give you any information that corroborates your side of the argument. No, I'm going to hide it for as long as I possibly can. Yeah,
to be clear, the president has not spoken to this aside from when he told us that he did not have any.
Yeah, he was faking like he was disgusted with it all. Come on, bro. What? And then, no, what he was doing was right what Karine Jean-Pierre does, where she looked down in that tablet, she shake her head, she laugh it off, and then she changed the way she's going. It's like a boxing match. It's like they dodged that one question, boom, block it. They block that one question, dodge it, and then they counter with something else that's not even tied to it. It's like, okay, trying to throw us off, trying to act as if the people who are seeing and hearing this are stupid. And we're not dumb.
Interaction with Hunter Biden in these business deals during the campaign, Congressman, is that a way to hold back and to push back on the FBI by holding back spending? What happens now there?
Oh, I totally think so. Not just on this issue, but the fact that we know that the FBI interfered in not one but two presidential elections in 2016 and in 2020. So I think there's definite issues at the FBI that we got to fix. Appropriations is the way, in my view. Now, to Director Wray, this document that Congress first requested and now has subpoenaed, and he's still saying no, I find to be completely outrageous. We don't report to the executive branch and to the federal agencies. Congress has powers of the purse. We do have duties to actually have oversight of the federal agencies. And what's happening in the Biden administration, and it's not just FBI, by the way, it's happening all over this administration, where they are withholding information. They do not respond to congressional inquiries. This is a real violation of separation of powers, and it is a constitutional crisis.
Yeah.
I don't use those words lightly. If there's a document that Congress is requesting, the agencies have a responsibility to deliver it.
Yeah.
And so if we're going to hold Chris Wray in contempt, I fully support that.
Yeah, I know, but does that do anything? Does this have any bite? I mean, Eric Holder was held in contempt of Congress. Nothing happened to him.
I'm glad she said that. It's like, what's the point? Like you acting like, and much love to Byron Donalds and him believing in the system and everything, but he know that the system is BS. He know that like the lady just now said, I forgot her name that daggone fast, but she said, does it have any bite? Like, what's the whole point? What's that going to do? Nothing. I mean, you talking tough, but what's that going to do? We've done this before and people didn't give us a damn thing, and what? We just moved on like, okay, well, we did subpoena him, but okay. When people thought that they had something that was going to finally hold someone's foot to the fire and got nothing.
At the end of the day, it's about the dollars here, Maria.
Okay.
So I think in the appropriations process, we have to be very serious with the FBI and these other agencies that have been withholding information.
Congressman, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks.
Yeah, there you have it, man. So we're gonna check out some more information about this so we can get down to the bottom of it. But director of the FBI nothing will happen to him if he does not supply any information that he was subpoenaed for. And if it does, I will be super surprised. I will be so surprised, man. But I'm not gonna hold my breath. I'll tell you that damn much. As far as the debt ceiling being lifted, that makes no sense to me. It seemed like we're just throwing another covering over top of it so that we can start all over and operate as if nothing's wrong. It's like a delusional nuclear family where you act like your wife is okay and the wife is acting like the husband is okay and they're acting like the kids are okay when they know deep down inside that we got some issues we need to address. It's not even that deep. We know that we need to address these issues, but as far as the outside looking in, they think we're the perfect family. So we're going to keep this whole thing going for as long as we possibly can until it's so unbearable that the people outside see. That's what the United States are doing. They're acting as if everything is okay. Okay, we don't have the money. Well, we're going to act like we have the money. Okay, we're going to go ahead and lift this debt ceiling. We're going to continue to spend. We're going to continue to borrow. We're going to continue to pay for that loan. Like Chris and Susie said, we're going to pay for that loan by getting another loan. And then we're going to pay for the new loan by getting another loan. And nobody's going to say anything to us. And then if anybody plays dirty in the name of the president, ain't nothing going to happen to them at all. It don't matter. Like, unless they lose their job. Now, if they lose their job, then something might happen to them, but not while they're protected. Ain't nothing happening. Don't hold your breath. That's just what I say.